question we're going to answer today is, what is the right way of reading self-help books? Like, how do you get the best out of it? How do you read it effectively? Like, if they're saying they can solve life problems, like how do you get them to do it for you?
So it's part of something we covered in our video yesterday is finding the right book. So you need to know what it is in your life that you're trying to improve, and not just a generic sense of woe is me, but what's going on, like is it about academics, is it about passion, is it about career, is it about motivation, what is it that you want help in? Identifying that's going to help you get the most out of the book you're reading because it's actually relevant to what you want to improve. And when you're reading it, you need to intentionally try and apply the things to your life in a way that is nuanced and understanding that your life experiences is different from the author's. There is a lot of things that you don't know about or aren't really told in the book that you shouldn't ignore and just work with what's there. Like, understand how your life is different and how you can modify what they suggest to your life. Say, example, it's they're giving you advice on how to do homework and not get distracted, and they say, tell people that you are not available and close your door and put your phone away, but that's not a realistic thing for everybody. So how can you modify that to be effective advice for your own life? Does it mean putting a sign on your door instead of closing it completely? Is it putting your phone on silent versus switching it off altogether? Is there a way to prioritize certain people whose phone calls you definitely want to let through, so adjust that setting before putting on do not disturb mode? There are ways that you should alter it to fit your experience that can help you get the best out of a self-help book.
That's quite interesting. Yes. So the way I see it, I'll give you an example with the financial self-help book. So there are all these authors who write books about how to get rich quick, right? And everybody wants that. The thing is, the only way to get rich quick is to write a book about how to get rich quick. There's no easy and guaranteed way that you can do that. But they all sell the snake oil all the time. There are very risky ways to go about trying that, but your chances of success are not nearly as close to being guaranteed as they make it look. Sometimes these books even give advice that is outright illegal if you try to do it. Other times, they are trying to sell certain financial products where they might have a vested interest in you purchasing those products. Besides that, there are all these pyramid schemes and all kinds of scams out there. So I'm not saying you shouldn't read finance books. There are very good books. There are good ways to learn how to invest, how to manage financial risk, how to build your savings, how to manage other aspects of your finances like insurance and so on. But you need to be sure that what you're finding is good quality books. And for that, you need to have some basic understanding of the concepts that you are reading. It helps if you've read multiple books on the subject so that you can compare and contrast. And you should always verify claims that these books make with other sources. If it's a book that you're reading to try to understand yourself, then you have to do the whole verification thing by starting out with what you already know about yourself and see if the assumptions that the author makes about about you in the book are in line with the assumptions that you in line with what you know about yourself. Because if you're not operating on the same set of assumptions, then what the author says does not really apply to you. The other thing is, with these books, what you really should look for is frameworks. They explain concepts within certain frameworks. If you can understand and grasp that framework, you can take it and apply it to your life, even though the circumstances might be different. But it's those frameworks that teach you how to think about a certain problem. That's what really helps. Although where you get inspiration from is all those anecdotes and stories that the book shares. So the framework is a theoretical foundation. and the anecdotes give you the inspiration to the motivation to go ahead and do the things that they ask you to do. So I think that's how you should try to read these books.
You guys are making very good points. I have a few more things to add. One is, try to find a book that speaks to the learning style like you really work with. For example, if you are like an audible learner, then you listen to an audiobook, like a self-help book. If you're a visual learner, then do it differently. If you like anecdotes more, then check whether they are there. Look for those reviews. Another thing is, like as you're listening to it or reading it, are you taking notes? Or like if you're not taking notes, that's fine too. At the end of the chapter, are you talking to someone about the chapter? Because if you just like read 5-6 chapters and be like, in fiction, you don't have to remember the whole thing, because the story is there, and as long as you're like where you're at, you're good. But like that's not how like self-help book works, and that's not how non-fiction works. So you really have to. They're all like sort of like standalone a bit. That you do need to understand. Just because you understand now doesn't mean you understand what was written in an earlier chapter. And for you to remember them, even if you haven't taken notes, maybe you should talk to someone. Like maybe you should challenge those notions and say, hey, like that's actually bullshit, like that's like unrealistic. And so even by doing that, you don't need a good self-help book to work to your thing. Even like a okay self-help book, you can still get a lot out of it, because like if it's a self-help book and somebody actually published it, there was probably something good in there, and you can probably get that good out of it.
But yeah, you make a good point here. So basically, learning happens through reinforcement. Do you take notes? Do you take the time to reflect on what you've learned? Do you talk to people about it? All of that helps in actually internalizing what you've learned. Whereas if you don't do all that, then you might have read the book, but you're unlikely to apply it in your life. So
yeah, you're not reading an Instagram post. You're actually reading a whole book. Put some more effort. Come on.
But if you put in that effort and intention, is it enough? Can you just get by with self-help books? Can they solve everything that's going on in your life? Do we need therapy is what I'm really trying to get at. Because books are less expensive than therapy is. It's a less time commitment, a lot of benefits. Can self-help books replace therapy?
Ooh, I think we just landed on a landmine. Okay, let's just do this question tomorrow.
Sounds good. See you all then.
Oh, you're still here? Well, thanks for getting to the end of the video. Hey, while you're still here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get new updates when we post videos. Also, make sure to check out these equally exciting videos as well. Have you pressed it yet? Come on, you have 5 seconds left. 3, 2, press it now!